All right, guys. So it is portrait time, and for this first portrait of the year, you can pick anybody. I just happened to use one of the pictures I did for my off my camera for my selfie. I'm looking at basic shapes. It does not have to be super detailed. Maybe that's more a later study type of. But this one definitely more cartoony is fine. So what we're looking at is looking at shapes, looking at what kinds of shapes do we see. I definitely have kind of a block kind of rectangular top, and then at the bottom of my head kind of rounds out a little bit. So literally what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in there. So kind of like block this, and I'm trying to draw it big so it really does take up space. And I'm also noticing that I see this here, but I don't see this here. And having this reference is huge because I can check those kinds of things. And I'm doing it about the same size, maybe a little bit larger on this a little bit better piece of paper here. So I've got that going. I've got the block part, and it looks like this is kind of straight, and then the ear kind of comes up, and so I'm kind of just roughing in shapes. Again, my ear's not that pointy, but for right now, that feels pretty good. Kind of getting that in. Yep, that works, and then it looks like that's there. And I'm looking for things that line up. Looking for that idea, top and bottom. I might put the bottom about there. There we go, and kind of round over here. And all of this is just adjustable. And I'm not really going to erase anything, so you can kind of see how I build it. Again, when you're drawing, some of your lines are going to be searching lines. Some of them are going to be more finalized. Right now, I'm just kind of feeling out and searching for where those parts are, right? So looking for, there's that middle line, because it looks like I've got more side here, and I've got kind of like a 3/4 view. So I'm going to kind of draw myself a line right about here, because I've got side of the face that way and front of the face that way, and that's going to be a nice little note. And some of this might end up getting kind of erased, or they're just kind of notes for what's happening there. So I've got side, front, and then I've got nose right about here. So again, just kind of getting that middle line so that my symmetry would be about right. And then I'm looking, if this is the top of my head, I mean, I've got hair coming up off of that, but if that's a top, and here's the bottom, well, all of the guides I've ever seen say, okay, eyes are about halfway, so I'm just going to make myself a line. And I'm looking, are they straight? They seem kind of straight. They seem pretty straight across, right? So then from the nose, from the chin to the eye line, nose is about halfway. And that also looks like it lines up with the bottom of my ear, and that also works pretty good. And then here, from the bottom of my nose to here, it seems like it's almost like in thirds, right? Because there's like this crease. So if I break this up into thirds, then that's about where my mouth line is going to go, right? That seems about right. Before I go too much further here, I am going to kind of put my hair in, just again, kind of roughing in. I'm going to put like where my shoulders are. Looks like my little bandana there for my, keeping COVID friendly there. So I'm going to kind of I'm just going to guesstimate where those might be, so that my head's just not floating, because that's kind of creepy, right? So I've got my bandana in there. Looks like I've got my lanyard kind of coming this way. So size-wise, I like the way it's taking up all that space. Looks like I need to make adjustment there. So I am going to go ahead and put where that hair kind of is, because I got my hair cut not too long ago, so kind of roughing that in. Seems like I got a little bit of a part there. I get this there, and then this kind of comes over here. I really don't see that other ear. At this point, I am going to clean this up a little bit. And so I am going to start putting in like eyebrows, shapes of eyes, getting my spacing right. That's what I'm trying to do here. So it looks like at the bridge of my nose, kind of, it's pretty straight. Thankfully, never broke my nose. Again, just getting those shapes in. It looks like, the inside corner, outside corner of my eyes are pretty even. Sometimes they go up or down depending on who you're drawing. And like the space here seems about right. So let's see, does that size fit? Because we've also talked about, that the space between your eyes, right? If I take this ruler and I can say, okay, this eye is right about that big, and it looks like there is one eye in between my two eyes, and then that one's about the same size. It looks like another one kind of between the corner there and the ear. So if I do this, if I'm doing this right, then that's 1, 2, other space. That's I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the ear would maybe make that 5th one. So there's my spacing. Kind of, again, building a portrait is just kind of little by little. So I'm going to go ahead and get my shape of the eye in there. Shape of the eye in there. Looking at the angles going on there. A little eyelid, Get my eyebrows are kind of raised up. Eyebrow there, and I'm like oversimplifying a little bit, but that's okay. And then I'm going to look at my nose. It looks like, again, I see a lot more of this side of the nose instead of that side, so I'm going to keep that in play. And I'm not going to get too detailed, but it looks like it kind of comes at that angle there. And I'm looking at this, kind of lines up with that. So there's where that nostril kind of comes in. There's that. And the end, get this little box on the end of my nose. There's that. So it comes back up. And then this one lines up with this little corner here. Okay. It looks like you get a little bit of a jump. Jump. So all of this is very, very adjustable at this point. So I've got like these, like I got my cheeks. I might even put in a circle there to kind of estimate, you know, that circular kind of shape. I get the same thing happening there. Right, and then I've got like these little laugh lines kind of coming off the top of the nostril. I've been making that mistake forever, but that little top there, this one's kind of doing the same thing. And then because I'm you know, kind of semi-smiling there, and looking at, you know, where does this corner line up? If I kind of draw an imaginary line, it goes right to the middle of that eye. So if I put that eyeball in, where that is, and this one is also right about there. Keeping it round. And I'm looking how much of the eye space is, you know, the colored part of the eye, how much of it is the white of the eye. So if I kind of drop a line down there, same thing there. So that's working out pretty nice. And then I'm looking at, you know, what's the distance between my nose, because it looks like I see the under part of the nose there. And then I've got this little piece here. So I've got a little line there. I've got this line here. Kind of goes, you know, up and then down and then up again. So I get this little piece here, down and then up, which kind of makes it look like I'm, you know, a little bit of smile in there. So that's my upper lip is stretched kind of thin there. And then my lower lip is a little bit squared off at the bottom. Kind of tuck those up there. And it looks like I've got a bit of a shadow, so I might want to make a note of that because I don't really want to start shading anything at this point. So there's that piece. Let's look at my chin. Pretty round. This is coming up here. There's that. I'll make some adjustments there. Maybe, you know, move this over a little bit. Get my neck in there. Let's see, there's a little space there. Get this back over here. There it is. That's pretty good. Not too shabby. So at this point, I would probably, you know, it looks like my forehead seems pretty big. It seems like I went a little bit overboard with the forehead, so maybe I bring that back down. That seems a bit, because I've like definitely stretched out my head a little bit. I tend to do that sometimes. So there's that. So I'll bring this hair down here, and maybe just for clarity's sake, just kind of erase a little bit at that point. It's looking a little bit better. Get my forehead there. Get those kind of wrinkly, creasy type things happening. It's looking pretty good. So it looks like I've got like some bags under my eyes because it's been a little bit of a long week. Get those bags in there. You know, at this point, I might, you know, go ahead and put the pupil in. Maybe adjust this eye shape here. There's that. Look at, you know, the way the folds and things are happening in the ear. I don't have to get too detailed in there. So let's look at that little dark space there. But all in all, I'm pretty satisfied with this, you know, quick sketch. Not too bad. Now from here, I'm probably going to spend quite a bit of time refining it and kind of polishing it. And maybe get rid of some of these extra lines that are kind of distracting at this point. And put in the wrinkles in my forehead. Can't deny those. There they are. And maybe make the adjustment there. So I'm looking at you. There we go. So not too bad. So there's my start of my head. It looks like, again, I've got to make some adjustments over here. Looks like maybe adjust my eyebrows a little bit. But that's a good start. I'm looking at, those, again, we started with the basic shapes, right? That kind of rectangle, kind of rounded. I made some adjustments as I was going. I'm not getting into lots and lots of details. I didn't color the eyes in yet. That's going to take some time. But that's my first go. I think over the course of this next week teaching this, you're going to see lots and lots of different versions of this. And you don't have to do it yourself. It's just that you know where you are. So you can take a selfie and print it out, or keep it on your phone or your iPad is totally fine. So having a reference is super, super helpful, friends. So I will see you on the Zoom classes. I hope that was helpful to kind of see that happen. And I'm going to work on this a bit so it's a little bit more finished. And when it's finished, I'll post a little picture of it. Okay? I will see you on Zoom. Bye-bye.